Oh, evening. I've been wanting to post for days about Gaza, but to be honest, I spend the entire day ruminating, trying to work out which one of the horrors am I going to talk about. Desperate to spread the word, desperate that more people know. Almost like, I mean, it's so naive, it's almost laughable. Almost like if more people know, this will, somebody, somehow, some superpower, something will happen and this will be brought to an end, this horror story. But of course it won't, because we've been talking about this for 9 months. But it's so important that we keep recording the step-by-step of this genocide so that they don't get away with it. So yesterday, Save the Children released the figures of 21,000 children in Gaza unaccounted for. Now, this doesn't include the 38,000 known to be dead. It cannot include the bodies that were blown to pieces because you can't count them. This is just lost, misplaced, under the rubble, an extra 21,000. And how is it that we can just talk about those numbers? I mean, I'm horrified with each time I hear these numbers, but sorry, but a lot of people aren't. They're just like, no, it is awful, isn't it? It's just, I don't know what to say. It's terrible, isn't it? Or, oh God, both sides are as bad as each other, aren't they? No, they're not. They're not as bad as each other. There is one side, the aggressor, that is pulverising a group of people that have nothing to fight back with. And it is a war on children. UNICEF have said this over and over again. The UN said it's some of the most horrific things that they've ever witnessed. The most UN workers have been killed in Gaza since the UN was set up. Just think about that. I saw a really good post yesterday. This is by a guy called Mo_Hams. And what he's done is he was saying how when we keep hearing about the way that these children are dying in isolation, he feels like we're losing the sense of what is actually going on. So he's drawn some very rudimentary cartoon, almost like images of babies, but highlighting how each one is killed. And this is just many, many children across Gaza for the last 9 months that most of the world doesn't seem to care. Or just like, oh God, it's really difficult, isn't it? It's just like, it's so complicated, isn't it? Yeah, I don't really know anything about it. Know about it. This is going to affect the whole world. So, this is how the children in Gaza are being killed, have been killed, murdered over the last 9 months. Not just lost their lives, murdered. Actually, before I start that, let's think about the report on Hind. Do you remember the little girl who was in the car, phoning her mum, begging her mum to come and get her because she was so terrified of the IDF? Well, guess what? 333 times they shot into that car. The most moral army in the world, though. 333 times. They killed the paramedics as they went to the car to try and help this poor family and this poor child. And the report says it was such close range, the gunfire, there's no way they couldn't have known what they were doing. Remember that little girl? I have to repost her, I think, because I think people have forgotten. So, these are how the children of Gaza are being murdered on a daily basis by the IDF. Killed by bombs exposing brain matter. Killed by infections from injuries and surgeries. Remember, hardly any medicine, antibiotics, anaesthetics, or painkillers. Imagine being a child and being the parent of a child watching this as your child dies of an infection. The pain. Killed by starvation and dehydration due to blocked aid. I was just listening to an interview with James from UNICEF, James Elder, I think his name is, and he was telling a story how they waited 13 hours with their aid truck from UNICEF that was carrying essential medicines and food for children that they were already treating that are now sort of in the tents, you know, unaccounted for. And the IDF searched it, and eventually they, on some whatever little dot of something that they thought wasn't quite right to allow, they disallowed the truck in. They disallowed it. So anybody that says to me, oh, aid is being allowed in, it's a trickle. They are starving. There's a huge report out today. Even the Telegraph reported it, talking about the horrific situation there with the starvation. I mean, children, you know, children are starving to death there. They are starving to death. And that is not a famine due to anything going on ecologically. This is a man-made famine by the Israeli government disallowing aid in, or even settlers smashing up the aid, chucking the water on the floor, jumping on the food, and there's people starving and there's babies screaming with hunger. Can you believe it, guys? Killed by amputations and loss of blood. Well, we know that they are now the biggest group of children ever in the history of war to have the amount of amputations that they've had in Gaza in the last 9 months. A minimum that they know of 10 a day. Those are amputations. Those aren't limbs that are being blown off by these unbelievably powerful bombs. So far in the last 9 months, the equivalent of 2 Hiroshima bombs, the power of, has been dropped on a strip of land that is the size of East London. Think about that. James Elder from UNICEF said, it is hell on earth. He's in Rafah at the moment. He said, it's 24/7. The drones that go 24/7 sounds like, you know, the worst lawnmower in somebody's back garden. So that's constant, 24/7. Then the bombs are so loud, he said it's like 2 saucepans being smashed right by your ear. Now, if that isn't constant torture on a child, on a baby. You see all these videos of these babies just jumping out of their skin every 2 seconds out of sheer terror. But hey, Rishi and Keir Starmer, God help us, is who's going to be the next Prime Minister. We're okay. We're okay with helping to arm Israel. You can tell I'm so pissed off, guys. Killed by overheating in tents in hot temperatures. So, James Elder from UNICEF said he looked at the temperature the other day. It was 55 centigrade. That's over 130 degrees Fahrenheit, right? And there's no water because they cut the water off. So each person is allowed, each family is allowed 2 litres of water. The bare minimum that you need to be clean and to be hydrated is 15 litres. And it's now down to 2 litres, if they're lucky. So children are dying of thirst. Killed by being crushed under rubble from airstrikes. Doctors Without Borders said, oh, I can't believe I'm going to say this again. Make no bones. I said no bones about it. Yeah, no bones. It is the most painful way that a child can die. That's what Doctors Without Borders said. It's the most painful way that a child can die. But hey, Rishi, Biden, Starmer, they're all okay. They're okay with this. Killed by tank shelling. Imagine your child being killed by a tank shelling. That child that's done nothing, you that's done nothing. This is a punishment. Killed by being buried alive. These are all the ways that children are dying in Gaza every single day. Killed by liquefied internal organs from bomb force. Yeah, that's happening. Liquefied organs from the bomb force that this country plays a part in arming Israel with. Killed by severe, intolerable burns from fire. Killed by bombs that fully decapitate them. Killed by white phosphorus burning through to the bone. Now, you know, do you remember all the fuss, quite rightly, when Putin was using white phosphorus in his war games? You know why? Because it carries on burning, burning. It's an illegal thing. Burning, burning. After you've put the fire, burning through to the bone. And still there's discussions as to whether there are war crimes and whether it's a genocide and whether it's okay. How pissed off are we, guys? How frustrated are we? What can we do with this rage and upset and pain for these poor kids? Killed by point blank execution. Or Biden, Starmer, Rishi, they're all fine with it. Starmer even's fine with them not having any water. He said it. He's a humanitarian lawyer. Last week he was asked on LBC about the genocide. He goes, what are you talking about? Are you saying, listen, we can't look at a film here and a video there, clips of films. I was part of the genocide team in Sarajevo. Excuse me. The International Court of Justice has said that it is plausible that there is a genocide occurring, and that was how many months ago? But you've got no opinion. And we're not even discussing it in election time. It's not even on the agenda. I want to know how somebody that wants to rule my country, run my country, our country, what they think about this. Don't you? Killed by severe intolerable burns. Yep. There's one here that I think that I have missed off, and I do not want that to happen because this is an actual thing. Here we go. Killed by heart attack from pure fear and excess adrenaline. They're dying of terror. Dying of terror. Killed by food-borne illnesses. That's because they're eating everything and anything that they can find, scraps of anything. I saw them roasting rats the other day. They were so starving. I'm sorry. That is just so upsetting, isn't it? It's just so unbelievable. And when you see all these incredible agencies, UNICEF, Save Children, but Doctors Without Borders, Medical Aid to Palestine, the United Nations, everyone, all these people condemning it, looking at us like this is terrifying. This is a severe, scary, horrific stain on humanity. Biden, Rishi, Keir don't even want to talk about it. Keir doesn't even want to talk about it. Rishi doesn't even want to talk about it. What do we think? Well, I definitely won't be voting for either of them. That is for sure. And I think there's an awful lot of people like that, is there not? Leave your comment below. And let's just share our... Has anyone sat here watching this is somebody with a humanitarian heart? So, group hug, guys.